Now, considering the roll position of the other fingers, because we just finished discussing the thumb, but the other fingers, well, first of all, again, let's remember that each finger has 3 movable joints. First finger joint, second finger joint, third. And that these are levers. That is to say, a fixed bar, which is fixed on one end and movable on the other, which is connected to another lever and another lever. And that we have complementary sets of muscles, one set called the flexors to close the fingers towards the palm of the hand, and the other set called extenders to open the fingers away from the palm of the hand. These work in sets. And this is very important to realize. Number one, to dispel the notion of relaxation, complete relaxation of the hand, because there's no such thing as both sets of muscles completely relaxing at the same time. That's very important to remember, and that dispels this contradiction, this false notion of being completely relaxed at the piano that's been floated for generations and has caused so much mayhem and confusion. But the point is, if we can remember that one set of muscles opens the hand and one set of muscles closes the hand, that means that we can use our fingers in essentially one of 2 ways. So you can be playing in a manner where you're constantly bringing the fingers towards the palm, what we would call pulling. And this, I think, in my own playing is what I will usually use as the dominant mode of playing. So what the point of it is that while you're playing, what you're going to be doing is ever so slightly bringing the fingers towards the palm in order to depress the notes. Within, of course, workable means and without exaggeration, of course. We always want to avoid extremes of either end. You don't want to totally contract the fingers, of course, because that's unworkable. But the point is that in pulling, what I would refer to as pulling, what you're doing is depressing the keys by bringing the fingers and ever so slightly closing them towards the palm. So in essence, you're pulling back. Okay? The opposite of that, of course, would be where you open the fingers away from the palm, pointing. So pointing would be going in the opposite direction of where you are ever so slightly flicking away from the palm of the hand and going in a forward direction. But the point is, there could be one dominant mode of playing for each of us, and we need to find out which feels more comfortable. So in my case, again, it's much more comfortable for me to be playing mostly by a manner of bringing the fingers closer to the hand. And I think that'll be true for most of you also. Okay, so here is the key. The key important thing about this whole idea: we utilize and maximize the fact that our playing apparatus, our fingers, work as complementary sets of muscles. One pulls when the other extends. So the point is, we should play by using only one set of muscles at a time. That's the point here. Okay? And if we have a conscious focus, awareness of which direction we're playing, in other words, again, pulling or pointing, you maximize your result, what you can achieve at the piano with a minimum of effort, because it's so focused and aligned. You are aware, essentially, of what you're doing. That is the big insight into how we should use our fingers. Finally, I'd like to mention something about that the fingers, of course, have as the first finger joint the point of contact with the keyboard. So in other words, obviously the first finger joint is what actually touches the keyboard and what allows us to play. So it makes sense then that the first finger joint is a critical component in playing. And what that means is that there are exercises we can do to make sure that the first finger joint is very active and working properly in order to facilitate and maximize our technique. And we'll talk about this in a future segment. For now, I hope this was helpful in discussing the role of the fingers and how we can maximize using them in our playing.